Quilt, or Queer Unity in Living Threads, is our new collective art project here at Skox. With this, we want to honor and explore the ways in which textiles have been used in the queer movement and other resistance movements throughout the world. We draw inspirations from projects such as the AIDS Memorial Quilt, which is one of the largest communal art projects in history, as well as the Arpilleras movement during the dictatorship in Chile, and projects such as Solidaritetsteppe, or the Solidarity Patchwork, which is based right here in Oslo. We invite you to participate by submitting your own patch. Eventually, all the patches will be joined together and sewn onto this tent that we have hanging here at our new kids' corner here at Skox. The patches can take any shape or form that you want, as long as it is textile-based. This is one example of a patch I made using applique or patchwork techniques, where I have sewn on different floral motifs from different fabrics that I've found in our fabric stash. You can also use other techniques. You can draw, you can use fabric markers, for example, like I am doing right here. Here I have written a motif, I've written a slogan, and I'm going to sew this onto a backing fabric. To do this, I take my thread, I split it in two, or keep it as is, but I would like a slightly thinner thread. I tie a knot in the end, maybe a double knot. I like to say that in embroidery there are thousands of rules, but in the kind of embroidery that I do, you don't really have to follow any of them. The most important thing is that your fabric, your applique, or your threads are more or less secure to your fabric. I do that by having the thread at the end, and then once I am done, I'll weave in the other end. I'm actually first going to cut it a little bit more. The idea behind this patch is a slogan that we usually say during our protest marches here, that no one is free before everyone is free. And I think that's important to remember. So I'm going to add that. Take my needle. I go in from the back. I start in a corner maybe. And so you can use a simple running stitch like this, which is when you just go up and down through the fabric, which is your typical sewing stitch. Like this. Or you could use any other kind of stitch. Blanket stitch are also good for applique work. Once you run out of thread, or you finish your stitches, or you want to switch color, you turn it around and you take your needle and you weave your ends in underneath some of your previous stitches. You don't need to tie it anymore, can't tie any more knots, but you can if you want to. But since this isn't going to be worn, it's not a piece of clothing, it's not a bag or anything like that, this is secure enough. Like this. And then we cut. Then I can choose another color for the top, or I can continue with the same color. I can also add another piece of fabric. Maybe I want to add this blue fabric on the side. Maybe I want to tie it to the side. Maybe I just want to sew here, and I tie this part. And it looks like curtains on the side. Maybe I want to add in some pieces that are like poles down from this banner. If you want to, you can also use fabric glue. This is the kind of glue that you use instead of pinning down something, but you still have to sew over it. But you can also find fabric glue that once it hardens, the fabric sticks. So you could put this on and then tack it down. It'll help you sew. If you don't want to sew, you could also use fabric paint, fabric markers, as I already mentioned. You could maybe even print something onto your fabric. Photography. You do whatever you want to, as long as it can fit on a piece of fabric, because we do want to be able to sew it onto here. To guide our project, we have come up with these prompts that you are welcome to interpret in your own way. A motif honoring someone that you love or someone you look up to, be it someone you know personally or a historical or fictional figure. A motif representing something that brings you joy or hope. What is queer joy to you? A self-portrait. How do you see yourself? What do you think you'll look like in 50 years? What does your inner child look like? Or lastly, a moment, an experience, or an event that has made an impression on you. Maybe it is your first queer love. Maybe it is your first Pride March. Maybe an experience with a healthcare system. Or maybe the first time you went to the beach post-top surgery. Feel free to work on your patch at home or join in on any of our workshops. For more information, you can check out our website or our Instagram.